This is episode 33 of the After Gambling podcast. In this episode, I'll share why I think it's so important to come clean to your family and your loved ones. Hey there, and welcome to the After Gambling podcast. My name is Jamie. I am a compulsive gambler, and I'm also the host of this show. The last time I gambled was July 15th of 2010. Now, for those of you that are following along, obviously you know, and it's in one of the early episodes, one thing that I believe is very important for us in recovery is telling family, telling loved ones, telling spouses. And this has come up quite a bit recently on Reddit and some of the Discord chats. And I actually just responded to a post on Reddit, and it really triggered me. I wanted to go over this one more time and to get this on the pod because I think it's so important. And I think it's important to explain why I think that coming clean is important in our recovery. And it's a step which I don't think we can really get to the point we want to get to without going through it one way or the other. So first of all, I'll touch on an easier topic, which came up on Discord, which was, when do you tell somebody? And especially early in relationships when you start to date. And this is one that I don't think you need to come out and say on day one, hey, I have this gambling issue. If you feel comfortable with it, definitely go for it and share that with them. But in the first few months, I don't think it's vital. I think you definitely want to get to know somebody. And I understand that you don't want to put all of your dirty laundry out there in the first month. And like I said, some people may feel comfortable with this. And in doing so, if the people understand addiction, then it's something that can definitely place strong roots on the relationship and bring you closer and more connected. But I think for the most part, people still don't understand addiction. So I understand the hesitancy. I would say wait. You'll know when the time's right, whenever it feels like it maybe is starting to get serious. And that's a great time to say, hey, you know what? I feel like this relationship is very important to me. I think same with you. And I want to make sure that we're clear on everything. And I don't want this to be a lingering secret. I didn't want to tell you right away because I didn't want to scare you off. Or anything like that. I didn't feel like it was necessary, but now it's important. And so I think that's different in every relationship, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, I don't know. That's up to you. So hopefully that gives some clarity in the whole dating scene. That's just my thoughts on it. That's how I would handle it. Fortunately, I'm not in that position. And it's been a long, long time since I've dated. So I'm not the best person for dating advice, but I'm going to give it anyway because people ask. So that's my thought on that, is wait till the time's right and then share. Now, I wanted to get that out of the way first because now we're going to move into how do I tell long-standing girlfriend, fiance, spouse, family, especially because this we have so many more issues with this because let's face it, we've been lying to them and lying about so many different things for a long time. We've probably been lying about how much we're working or with friends in order to free up the time to go gamble. So it's not just the financial thing. It's not just any type of debt that we're in. It's the accumulation of all those lies over all of those years that we realize it's all going to come to a head the moment we bring up the fact that we have a gambling problem. They're going to start to connect the dots very quickly to understand that there are a lot of lies, and it's going to be a moment that we're not going to love. As you know, I got caught, and I did not love that. I did not love the 5-hour drive home thinking about what we were going to talk about, and I didn't love the conversation. I was extremely fortunate that my fiance was very understanding and very kind of, well-versed in addiction to understand how addiction works. And didn't look at it as this is a character defect. This wasn't some flaw in my character that I was choosing to do something. She recognized it as the addiction it was. And having some background in the medical field, I'm very fortunate that she had that background and also just watched the show Intervention to understand how addiction truly works. And it's really, really, really quite sad. I say this often that we don't have a better understanding of addiction in our world. We still see it with all the shame and stigma, and we view it as people making decisions. And as I posted at the end of my Reddit comment, we choose to start gambling, just like the person chooses to start drinking. But on day one, you don't go into it saying, I'm going to choose to become a degenerate gambler, that I'm going to be so addicted to this that I'm going to go into debt. I'm going to lie. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to steal. I'm going to do all these terrible things. That's not how any of us got into this, right? I mean, I haven't yet met somebody that on day one, they just said, you know what, I'm going to do all these terrible things in order to facilitate my gambling problem. It's progressive. It gets worse. Just like, I mean, on day one, the first time you drink alcohol is not the day that you become an addict. It's the first step towards becoming an addict. And yes, if you don't ever drink it, you're not going to become an addict. Just like if you don't ever gamble, you're not going to become an addict. But I mean, that's where we're sold that we can do this as fun, as entertainment. But it is so progressive, and it quickly sneaks up on us before we know it. Then we have a problem. Then we're actively trying to quit, and we just can't. I mean, if you're listening to this, you know that feeling is real, that you have wanted to quit, but you just can't. And so, like I said, I was fortunate that my significant other understood addiction in that way. Now, I know that the majority of people don't. And so this is going to be a different conversation for you. And I think that will be part of the conversation, and definitely something that needs to be discussed. And I guess we'll jump into that now, which is at some point in the conversation, I would just encourage them, even if they don't understand, whether you want to start off with this or end with this, I think I'd either bookend it on one side or the other. Say, look, I know that you probably don't understand addiction, because I don't think most people in the world understand addiction. But I have an addiction. It's not something I'm choosing to actively continue on with. It's gone beyond that. And I would just ask them, if they do nothing else, just to go and do some research, understand addiction, whether it's watch some YouTube videos, read the Problem Gambling subreddit, or listen to the podcast. You can do any of those things and just encourage them, say, look, I don't expect you to understand this, and I'm not using this as an out. It's not an excuse. I got myself here. I'm taking responsibility for it. But in order for them to better help you, they're going to have to better understand addiction, and especially gambling addiction. Like I say, in order to know that you're doing the right things and to come to peace with it, knowing that you're doing those right things, but also just to help you, to support you. If they're going to stick around, they need to get involved and to understand it, because otherwise there's always going to be this tension there that you're going to be doing things and they're just going to continue to think, well, why did he do this? Why didn't he stop? Why didn't she stop? Why did she blow all of our rent money? Why didn't she tell me that we were 6 months behind our rent? Why didn't he tell me that we didn't have money to buy a house? All these things, that the lies that have built up. And so it's really going to be important that they understand addiction. So like I say, at the beginning or the end is probably the best time. Say, look, again, I'm taking responsibility for this, but I just really need you to understand my addiction better. And the only way to do that is to kind of study it. So they're not going to understand on day one, but hopefully somewhere along the way, they will start to dig into it to better understand what you're facing. So I got a little bit out of order there, just kind of running with thoughts. Like I say, this one's the night before I usually post these, so it's going to be a little bit out of typical order. But I'll back up now and kind of go to how do we start this conversation. And I would say, first of all, just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off, because you know this conversation is going to have to happen. And I think we all have that fantasy, that dream that we're just going to be able to fix the whole thing, recoup the money, pay off any debts, and it's going to be a time in our life that we can just eliminate from our thoughts, and we'll never have to bring it up to our spouse or our family because we won't need their help. And it's just something we'll be past it, and we'll be better from it, and we'll learn from it, but it's just going to be something we'll never have to speak of. And I had that fantasy, and pretty much everybody I've ever met in recovery has had that exact same fantasy. And I just want to point out that that is purely a fantasy. In 8 years, I have yet to meet somebody that said, look, I recovered all my debts, I paid off everything, and my wife never knew, and now I quit, and I've stayed quit for a long time, and everything's great. That's just not how it happens. At some point, they're going to find out. And so what you need to decide today is, do you want them to find out on their terms by getting caught, the way I did, which I will say that's a huge regret, is that I wasn't the one controlling the story and being able to share, because that's really impacted the trust level. All these people that thought that I was doing really well and that I quit, and then when they found out, that impact trust, and that impact is going to live on probably forever. There will always be remnants of that. And I don't know that it would be completely different had I come clean on my own, but I want to say that I think that I would have the benefit of the doubt, that they would say, hey, you know what? He caught this, and I can have more trust because he came clean and he was the one that brought it up. He didn't have to do it, but he realized that that was part of his recovery. So yeah, that's the decision you have to make. Do you want it to be on your terms or their terms? And I will say, switch shoes. If it's on their terms, you find out and you get blindsided with it, you're probably going to be pretty pissed, right? It's not going to be something that you're happy about. You're going to be mad that they didn't tell you. So they're already going to be mad about the gambling. They're already going to be mad about any debt. Now you're just adding another thing for them to be upset with, and another thing to impact the trust level going forward. So that's really kind of why I think it's important, because this just doesn't happen without going through this process. And it's just, do you choose to have this process today, or do you kick the can down the road? And as compulsive gamblers, we tend to kick the can down the road, to procrastinate, and it just makes our problems worse. We end up digging a bigger hole, and when they do find out, things are worse. Things don't get better. It's progressive. All you have to do is look back at your last 6 months, your last year, your last 2 years. Have things gotten better? And if the answer is no, then why would it change in the future? Because you've wanted to quit before. You just can't. And it's because addiction isn't something that we can handle on our own. It's an illness, and we need help. We need accountability. And part of that accountability comes from sharing with our family members. And then just to wrap up on the importance of coming clean, the last reason, and I just touched on a little bit, was that coming clean lays the foundation for recovery. Gambling thrives in secrecy. Think about it. Your bank accounts are hidden. The lies are all hiding. Everything's done in secrecy and veiled, white lies or big lies, in order to protect the ability to continue to gamble. You know that coming clean is going to erase your ability to isolate and hide things. And that scares the addiction. The addiction will not be able to thrive in that, because think about it. If your family can look at your bank account, if they have all the control of the money, if you have to be responsible and accountable for where you are, if they're able to do all these different things, if they're going to check on and make sure you're going to GA, if they're going to be able to make sure that you're doing all the things you know you should be doing, guess what? It's going to become really hard to gamble. Without money and time and opportunity, it becomes extremely difficult to gamble. And especially when you have all these people that you're becoming accountable to and that you're opening up about your problem, there's nowhere to hide. And when there's nowhere to hide, that means that there's nowhere for the addiction to hide. And that means that the gambling stops. And I really think that, the root of all addictions is in isolation. And the more that I study it, the more I look into it, the more it's true. And so if you want to beat an addiction, one of the big things you have to do is remove isolation. And so whether you start off going to a GA meeting first, and I think that would be a great step, do that before you want to tell your family. So you can say, hey, I've been to GA meetings the last couple of weeks. It will show action. Whatever you want to do, but at some point, like I say, it's going to come out. All right, and then we'll wrap this up. I don't think you want to use this script word for word, but I wanted to write something down or kind of record something just so it gives you something. So if you say, hey, I have no idea even where to start, first of all, keep it simple. Be honest, which obviously is hard for us. But I think something simple and just kind of, say, hey, there's something I need to tell you. I'm struggling with gambling. I've been trying to quit for a long time. Maybe tell them how long you've been trying to quit. And just say, hey, look, I realize now I cannot do it on my own. I've tried. And ideally, I did not want to involve you. And also make sure at this point to include the fact that you are not asking for money, and nor will you accept money, because you realize that accepting money, it will only continue to create more problems for you down the road. Bailouts are not good for us. They just allow us to get back in the action sooner. But yeah, just kind of say, I admit it, I can't do it on my own. I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to have this big secret. And this is a good place to insert the fact that you never intended it to be like this. It's kind of snowballed out of control. And now it's this big thing that you had no idea it would ever get to, did you plan to get there? And while you wish you could just quit on your own and fix all your problems, maybe say, hey, I was listening to a podcast and the guy on there said, this is what I need to do. And I'm willing to try anything on this point because I'm so desperate just to get help. So please, I hope you will look into it and get a better understanding of the addiction. And you can lead them to the places where you're looking for information, the podcast, the Reddit, Discord, wherever it is online, and tell them, look, please look into it and please help me. I'm asking you just to help me stay accountable because I'm ruining my life and I want to stop. And as I always say, switch shoes. If one of your best friends, if your significant other came to you and said that to you, you know what you'd do. You'd want to help them. And that's what they're going to want to do for you. So that's it. As always, I am not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not an attorney. Please seek out the help of professionals. Everything we discuss here is for informational purposes, and especially in something like this, I know that this can have a huge impact on your life. I'm just sharing my thoughts and opinions on what I've seen work for me and work for so many other people. And I know everybody's situation is different. So please take whatever you think can be positive from this. And I'm really wishing you luck. I know this is a really tough topic. It's not something I was able to do. And admittedly, it's going to be very difficult. But I think it's going to lead you to the path to recovery. And so, yeah, I hope this helps. And I don't know, I'll be pulling for you. Please reach out at any point. You know how to get a hold of me, any of the social media platforms. Also, jamie@aftergambling.com if you have any questions, concerns, comments. Music for the show is Something Elated by Broke for Free and is licensed under the Creative Commons license. And as always, I will see you in the next episode.